Throughout Europe, thousands of events are taking place in order to discuss the key topics for SMEs. And this year's topic is how to get more women engaged in entrepreneurship.
The main challenge that Europe is facing is that women entrepreneurship is the biggest untapped potential for the European economy to create growth and jobs.
Only 30% of startups in Europe are done by women.
That is too much of a low figure. We need to aim at least to 50%.
The EU summit today is entirely devoted to women and entrepreneurship. We have 4 workshops focusing on areas where women are facing particular challenges when they try to start or grow their business.
Ten years ago, very few had ever heard of the term entrepreneurship education. At that time, our network was reaching about 800,000 young people across maybe 30 countries. Today, we are reaching 3.1 million young people across 37 countries.
My generation in Norway, we don't find it, it's very common that a woman starts her own business. Earlier, it was very funny. You could see it in the magazines. When there was a woman that was an entrepreneur, it always said, woman entrepreneur established a new company. Today in 2012, they will actually just write her name. They will say, Linda Larsen, she just established her company. Because everyone knows she's a woman, but that's not the interesting part. It's not her gender, it's the fact that she's an entrepreneur.
Wir haben nach wie vor traditionelle Rollenbilder. Für viele Berufe scheint es normal, dass es Männer sind. Das müssen wir verändern in einem gesellschaftlichen Prozess.
When you're young, you have a lot of issues of confidence. You're searching about what you would like to do with your life. And I think one of the worst things that can happen to young people is that they limit their options. So what entrepreneurship education does, it teaches people to think outside the box, to understand that they have a lot of options and that the skills, knowledge, subjects that they're studying at school can be applied in a lot more ways than they originally thought.
J'ai fait 5 ans de salariat et je me suis rendu compte que je n'étais pas faite pour ça, justement. J'ai toujours eu l'esprit d'entreprise et envie d'être indépendante. Ça a été difficile pour moi au début de m'habituer à l'Europe parce que c'est pas du tout le même climat que dans les Caraïbes, donc c'était un peu difficile.
I think women from migrant communities or background face challenges like, first of all, do you understand the language of the country you're living in? Do you understand the legislation that govern not just your state but also the kind of market you want to get into? It's all about where do I get the necessary startup capital, and also the question of trust. Am I being trusted in the community in which I am? Can I inspire trust and get the customers, not just get customers but maintain them.
Quand on vient d'un autre pays, il est important de se rassembler dans des associations, dans des réseaux, justement où on vous aide à démarrer, à prospérer aussi.
There is support to help migrant women develop their businesses, but I still think it has to be more. Some of this help is very much from a top-down position and not from the women we're talking about. That help has to move into getting the women who have been successful, help others, realize this vision.
Women, the worst obstacle for them to get into the business world is access to finance. So we thought, what is the best way to push them into the business world? And we did 2 things. First, we created the Cyprus Women's Cooperative Bank, which is a cooperative society which gives loans to startups by women, tailor-made to their needs. At the same time, what we did was to lobby the government and create on the same time a scheme that supports women entrepreneurs by offering them 50% of the initial startup capital. We increased the percentage of women entrepreneurs in 10 years from 11 to 12 to 28, which is really amazing.
The first thing is getting to know how to present your idea. And that is step number one, making sure that your project is understandable from a banking point of view. So make it bankable.
When women entrepreneurs seek financing, they often face a double challenge. One, their types of businesses that on average they build are harder to scale and often therefore not open to all types of financing as traditional businesses. The second thing is that there are some stereotypes of, especially if it's a young woman, will she be able to stay an entrepreneur if she has a family?
Women in businesses tend to see more challenges than men, so we appreciate risks much more, and this is a bit inhibitory when you go to a bank.
The main understanding I think everyone got, the importance of networking and sharing experience and best practice. There is finance out there, it's how to get it and where to get it.
After I finished my studies in the UK, I started working in an audit firm. And it didn't take me long to realize that what I really wanted to do was to start up my own company. So in 1997, I left a secure job with quite good prospect. And together with my husband, I took the risk and we launched a completely new service in the Cyprus market. There were times that I felt that people didn't feel comfortable around me. With my employees, especially the older ones, they were more willing to take instructions from my husband instead of me. They didn't trust me enough. But with patience and persistence, you gain their trust and their respect. It takes time, but well, I think finally I made it.
I experienced the power of frozen water. If you put your cucumber in the freezer and take it out, the volume will be reduced. So I thought this is a good thing to use with contaminated materials. I was lucky because I had the first mover, the first person that believed in the technology, and that was the Swedish Navy. They were retrieving objects from 130 meters depth, and they wanted to use freeze technology to do it. So that was the first commercial job.
I think we can attract more women if we start teaching from the very preschool age and tell girls that it's normal for a woman or girl to be in technology. Financing and teaching, and I guess these are the main challenges we face.
I address normally women by saying that they don't need to bring 1,000 pages about their project, but a PowerPoint presentation with 10 slides.
What is critical is that there's more women actually investors.
The more interaction between men and women, the better.
Women entrepreneurs represent the biggest untapped potential for entrepreneurship in Europe.
If we can unleash this potential, we can really make the difference.
I would say go for it. Go for it with an open mind, with the knowledge that it involves risks. But we know that you are not scared of risks.
I encourage women not to, sit there and think if they could do it, they can. They just have to take the first step, and that's the difficult one.
Don't lose your enthusiasm, because that's worth a lot.
It's a very, very hard job. It is an adventure, but it is an adventure that is worth taking.
By exchanging best practices and by being open about what works and what doesn't, we can make sure that more women start and grow their own businesses. I hope that today's discussions will inspire you to just do it.